Week 13, and we are going to look at a quadratic equation. So I'm seeing this here. A quadratic equation looks like ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. It usually makes a shape like a parabola, either facing down like that or facing up like that. All right, we're talking about jet skis and revenue, and it can be modeled by this equation. We have to keep in mind that X represents the number of 50-cent price hikes. All right, what is the most revenue and how many price hikes should occur to get the most bang for our buck? What's the meaning of our answer? Okay, the most revenue is blank, and the number of 50-cent price hikes needed to obtain the most revenue is blank. All right, so what we're looking for when we're looking at most revenue, we're looking at something called the max or the vertex. So when we look for max or vertex and we have an equation written in standard form, our vertex, which is going to be x comma y, right? That's a coordinate. Your x coordinate can be found by doing negative b over 2a. And once you find your x coordinate, you could plug that in and get your y. So let's solve for x. Let's get our x coordinate for our max. This is our max right here. Okay, so negative b. So the negative sign, and we're going to have a b and divide it by 2 times a. Okay, our b is negative 6, and our a is negative 1. So this will be our x coordinate. So negative 6 becomes 6 over negative 2. So our x coordinate becomes negative 3. So that is the number of price hikes needed to obtain the most revenue is going to be negative 3. Okay, now this is going to be your revenue, which is y. So we're going to plug negative 3 into our formula. So our revenue when x is negative 3 price hikes is equal to negative x squared minus 6 times x plus 438. All right, we're going to pop in negative 3 for our x coordinate right here. And so negative 3 squared is 9 with a negative there. This becomes a positive 18 plus 438. So that becomes 9 plus 438. So our revenue would be what? 438, 448, 447. So 447. So if you think about this visually, let's draw a little x, y coordinate plane. And let's say our max revenue is 447. That means your parabola, is going to have a max right here. And that is when your price hikes are at negative 3, then your max revenue would be 447. Okay. Let's see the next part. Nope, that's right. The most revenue is 447. And to obtain the most revenue is negative 3. Okay, we're still using the same quadratic equation, and they're asking us to interpret this. This means that to attain the most revenue, they need to either increase or decrease the price by, well, let's figure that out. So I'm going to draw another picture. That will help us. Visual for me is always the best. Okay, so let's draw this parabola. Maybe it looks like something like that. So we know this is 447. So here's your number of price hikes. Okay. And 0 right here would be no price hikes. And if we come down 3 jumps down, right? Because we're looking at negative 3. How many jumps is that? That's 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents. So 0.50, 0.50, 0.50. Okay, so if this is what their price is just normally, without any, this would be increasing over here, right? And this here to the left of the starting point would be decreasing here. They need to decrease their prices. If they want to maximize, right, and make that $447 profit, they need to decrease it by 50, 50, 50, $1.50. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's see if we got that right. Yes, they need to decrease their price by $1.50. Okay, and that's 3 hops down. Remember, X is just number of price hikes, and the price hikes are 50 cents each. So 3 jumps down would be $1.50. Let's see here. Let me make that more clear if you add those up. Okay, the problem that keeps on giving. Okay, same quadratic. If the rental company decides to charge $4 more, then what would their revenue be? Okay, so we got to figure out what $4 more would look like. Okay, so let's go back to my little drawing here. So if they were going to increase, this would be increasing. And they go $4 more. Remember, X is number of 50-cent price hikes, right? Or, yep, that's what they said here, price hikes. Okay. So if they were to charge $4 more, let's figure out where would they be. Okay, so remember, each one of these is a 50-cent price hike. So we would go 50, $1, $1.50, 2, $2.53, $3.50, 4. This would be $4. So how far did we go out? Let's see here. We went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We went 8 out on the X. So when X is equal to 8, that's when our increase for our jet ski would be $4 more. Okay, so let's pop 8 into our revenue equation, and that should tell us what the revenue would be. We know it's going to be less than, remember this was 447, right? But now they're over here on the parabola, so we're looking to see how much money they're going to make, somewhere here. Okay, so negative, let's see here, 8 squared minus 6 times 8 plus 438. All right, so that becomes negative 64 minus 48 plus 438 bucks. Put these together, that's negative 112 plus 438. And so if we put those together, it would be $326. Okay, so maybe that's like right here, 326. Definitely less than 447. So if they want to not maximize their money, they want to charge another $4 more for the jet skis, they're not going to make but $326. Okay, yep, good. All right, so far we're on track. Okay, now they're thinking smarter. They're like, well, let me charge less and see how much revenue I'm going to make. All right, so let's draw. It's kind of maybe too big for that. Okay, so $5 less. So remember, $4 more was over here at X equals 8. So $5 less, so we're going to need to make some jumps over here. So remember, every jump is 50 cents, right? So 50, $1, $1.52, $2.53, $3.54, $4.50, one more. That would give us a negative $5 decrease. So where are we as far as on the x-axis? Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's x equals negative 10. Okay, so we're going to plug negative 10 in. I don't know why that came up like that. Very odd. Okay, so negative 10 squared minus 6 times negative 10 plus 438. All right, so that's 100. That becomes a negative 100. That becomes a plus 60 plus 438. These two get together. That makes a negative 40 plus 438. And that should leave us with $398. Okay, so that's somewhere here up. So over -8 and up to making $398. Now, remember, that's less than what they were gonna make. Their max was 447. Okay, so it's a little bit less. So 398, I think is what we're looking for. Yep. All right, thank you for sticking with me. I hope this helps. I highly recommend drawing things out just like I did here and here and jumping, right, to see where you're gonna be. And I think that should help. All right, we'll see you in the next video.